welcome to
Yeah.
El Sancho Live, my guy.
Hi, how are you?
Super, super stoked to have you.
Can you turn the TV? I'm
Everybody,
sorry.
don't. No, we're
Okay.
good. It's a. I gotta make sure my stuff from yesterday is not showing. So, welcome to El Sancho Live. How are you doing?
Very good. I just raced home to try to be on the show. I was trying to catch my breath before I logged in.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Take
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about how excited I am to have you on. You are one of the most requested people I've had from people listening to have you on, and it is absolutely awesome to have you on. And I kind of want to talk about the birth of your relationship with the police. Kind of dig back to an early adolescent age if you can. Did you have a good relationship, great relationship, bad relationship? Kind of walk us through your relationship at an infancy level with the police. Such a good question, too. Damn it. Tom, you back? I hit him with a home run question and no answer. Damn it. DDT, hello. Um, Tom, you good? We will be joined by. Let me knock him back off and back
Okay.
on. There you are.
Am I? Oh, I think what happened is my screen timed out, and when that happened, I guess you couldn't hear me.
Did you hear my question?
I did. I even started to answer it, but okay. Let me start the answer again. I'm guessing it was probably before the fifth grade. I had a little motorcycle, like a 50cc Honda, and the deal I had with my mother was I could pretty much ride it on the street, but as soon as I got caught by the police and got a ticket, I would no longer be allowed to ride it. And so the first thing I really remember with the police is running from them on this little motorcycle. I mean, I don't know. That's probably the first memory I have is I would ride this motorcycle into an alley and hide it behind a dumpster, if and when they would try to pursue me. Because I was just a little kid, I was probably waist high.
Right.
And riding in the city of Torrance.
At what age? At what age at what age did it kind of turn your, feelings?
Probably about when I was like probably 17. The Torrance police would harass me and my friends regularly on the weekends, and I can't really explain why I reacted differently, but I did. I just remember, eventually I cursed them all out, and I ended up getting not only myself arrested, but also my friends. And I think after that, they just started retaliating against me. Like every time they see me, they would pull me over and they would write me false citations for anything you could think of, like bald tires, defective turn signals. They would write me all these fix-it tickets, that weren't true. And they'd say, well, maybe when you get to court, maybe the tires will be worn out. So of course I wouldn't go to court for these things, and they would just pile up. And I guess that was just kind of a cycle where I would get warrants, because I would get tickets that weren't valid. And so it was just like a cycle. It was like, and because of that, I didn't really have any respect for them, I think. This is a long time ago. This is, almost, I'm almost 50. So I'm talking about 20 something years ago. It was probably around 2000 as a young adult when I started, trying to record them.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just being a smart ass. At whatever point I got my my driver's license was perfect. I had a clean record for like 10 years, because eventually I got smart and realized I can't afford to have points on my driving record and have outrageous insurance and have my license suspended, because that just doesn't work in our society if you have to drive somewhere.
I think
So
there's a difference between disdain towards the police and filming the police. What year were you? What age were you? Where you kind of made that step on? I don't like them, but now I gotta film them. When was that?
uh, I'm gonna say it was probably around 2000, but I was scared at first. It took a long. At first, I would just have the camera set up, so if they pulled me over, they were already there and on.
Mhm.
It took a lot of years before I like had the nerve to take a camera in my hand and actually point it at them. Um, but I don't remember exactly when I started doing that, but in the early 2000s, and
Mhm.
I think eventually, probably by around 2005, I felt like I probably had won a lawsuit. I felt like they knew who I was, and they kind of quit messing with me.
Mhm.
But I would listen to the scanner, and I could hear they were doing the same thing to other people,
Mhm.
especially like I lived in Hawthorne at the time, but like black people, people on bicycles. I mean, I could just hear it on the radio what they were going through, and I had gone through it myself. So I just started showing up, on when they were harassing other people.
So when you started filming, did you ever have the approach of, hey, we're keeping it down the middle, we're holding everyone accountable, not just the police, but cameras, in my opinion, it's a lot like body cams. I'm a big advocate for everybody having a body cam because it holds everybody accountable. There's
Yeah.
an individual, Daniel Holtzclaw, who's rotting in jail for 263 years for, in my humble opinion, crimes that he didn't commit because he didn't have body cams. Guess who has body cams now? Oklahoma City. And I think it kind of takes the innocence and the guilt, and smacks them down on the table when there's accountability in a camera. Did you have the approach with law enforcement? Hey, we're filming you too, because God forbid they say you did something wrong and we have it on film that you didn't. Have you ever had that
Well,
approach when you first started?
I don't think they had. I'm not sure if they really had cameras so much when I started, but based on what I had seen, I just felt like a lot of the things they were doing were unjustified. A lot of things were dishonest. I mean, so yeah, I felt like the cameras would hopefully help to keep them honest, but really it didn't. It was not very effective at first. They, if anything, they would just retaliate, and they were really grumpy about it, about being recorded. It didn't really bring out better behavior for a long time, I think. Um, uh, but to be honest with you, as far as like I never really had a plan. I never knew where I was going with it.
Okay.
I just knew that a lot of the things they did to me and my girlfriend and to my neighbors,
Right.
they were just wrong. And it was like everybody would tell me I'm stupid and crazy for trying to make a complaint or trying to record them or trying to monitor what they're doing. And the more people told me I'm an idiot, for doing it, the more determined I was. I think I probably got mad at everybody around me, anybody in my life, because nobody really supported the idea or the idea of trying to monitor the police or hold them accountable or even just observe what they're doing. Everybody just thought I was a fool. Like, what could possibly come of that? It's just you're gonna make things worse. And they might have been right in a lot of ways.
Did you at one point feel you were fighting an uphill battle? Because at one point, you being the OG in this, there wasn't 76 cop watchers at the drop of a dime had your back when you got arrested. I mean, that didn't happen with you. Did you
It's
kind of
always it's
yeah?
always been an uphill battle. It's always been an uphill battle that I'll never be able to win. I mean, there's a lot of police. They pretty much could do whatever they want, and I'm at their mercy at any instant. They could do whatever they want, and really, I don't have any defense.
So walk
I
us
mean,
through. So what was the incident that was the breaking point for you to change and get behind a camera and start, you know, holding them accountable because what they were doing to you, you didn't want them to do to everyone else. Like, what was that moment, that kind of earth moving, the moment that kind of, put you into motion to grab a camera? I believe it was a Sony Handycam, correct?
Yeah, I did have a Sony Handycam,
Mm-hmm.
but I had been recording with different cameras for a long, long time. I'm not sure if maybe I'm answering your question incorrectly, but what I'm thinking is you're asking me when I decided to like make a YouTube channel and try to
Well,
share the videos.
we're gonna
I
get to
mean,
that point, but like,
okay.
what was the moment where you went from a normal dude to
Oh,
grabbing a camera, filming the police? Like, what incident occurred that kind of changed you to want to grab any camera, like your first camera ever, grabbing that camera and holding the police accountable? Was there a moment that was like, this was it for me? This is what
yeah.
made me turn the corner. If so, what was that moment?
But my girlfriend got arrested basically on the street where we lived, where we managed apartments. And so it wasn't actually a camera at first. It was actually an audio recorder, like a little audio recorder, because the small camera they didn't really have them. So at first, after they arrested her and I went to the station and tried to complain about it and they wouldn't, they just treated me like I was an idiot. Like the arrest was by the book. Um, they just didn't care. It was like we had a court date the very next day. We just had a new owner for one of the buildings we managed. Right, we just met. This is like our new boss. We just met him, and the very next day we have to go to bankruptcy court and represent him. My girlfriend actually does, Wendy, and the police arrest her in front of the house for no reason. And now, so I like have to call my new boss and tell him, oh, sorry, she's not gonna make it to court. She's in jail. That doesn't sound very good for your employer that you just met, who's trusting you to collect rent and take care of his property. So and he actually, he came to the house that night, to the apartment, and he was very understanding about it. And he pleaded with me. He's like, don't file a complaint. He was actually, his name was James Bessler. He's actually an attorney, not like a civil attorney, but he pleaded with me. He's like, don't say anything. He's like, because we might need them, in these properties. When we have issues, we're going to need their help. So he's like, don't complain. He's like, let me take care of it. I'll take care of it. But I didn't really listen to him. I tried to make complaints and they refused to give me the form every time. And so I started recording how they refused to take a complaint. And I recorded it over and over and over for, it might've been 2 years. And when they found out that I had been recording each of these instances and I showed them that I had a recorder in my pocket, they arrested me. So instead of, I was trying to show them, look, I have this evidence. You guys are breaking the law. You're supposed to take complaints and you're not doing that. And so instead of hearing what I said, they just arrested me and they charged me with 2 felonies for eavesdropping. And that, right, like probably after that, I had a lot of anger. I was very angry about that. Did I lose you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
How does that anger? Obviously, when there's big incidents like this, and you lose faith in humanity, almost. Walk us through what your mindset was when you continuously was being let down by people you thought were there to be problem solvers and to fix things. Walk us through your mental mindset when you started to just lose hope and lose faith in the system.
Well, I think at that point when they arrested me, I realized like I had collected all this evidence. I started to realize like I've got these, they don't know it, but I've got proof, like I've got them in a bad position, So I was a little bit excited about it. But when they arrested me, it was my girlfriend's birthday when I went, and she was very unhappy that I kept pursuing this, especially on days that were important to her. And I'm trying to go, ask for a complaint form when I already know they're not going to give it to me. And that night in particular, I remember we went out to like Black Angus for a birthday or something. And when we got home, I was like, I'm just going to go down there. I'll be back like a half hour. And, and then instead I got arrested. The good thing that came out of that is by the time they let me go, somebody from the city of Hawthorne actually gave Wendy a phone number for an attorney named Donald Cook. Actually, they gave us a whole list of attorneys and phone numbers, and we called every single one, left messages for every single one of them, and one of them called us back. And so once I had representation, and he looked at what they had done to Wendy, the complaint I was, that they wouldn't take on her, and the fact that they arrested me. Once I was represented, that changed everything. He took really good care of me.
So where was the point where it kind of wore away at the humanity skills? Because I know if you continually become disappointed and let down, it kind of wears on your mental, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of wears on your personality, your socialness, etc. Did that ever happen to you? And at what point was the breaking point?
That was I'm going to say early 2000s. It was like it got to where I couldn't really think about anything else. Like that was the only thing on my mind. That was the only thing I wanted to talk about. I was so angry about it. But anybody that knew me and was close to me, they've already heard about it. Like they don't want to hear about, about the Hawthorne police or whatever department. They don't want to hear about the fact that they're treating people poorly because they already know that. They just, it's not something they want to talk about. But I couldn't get it out of my head. I couldn't let it go. It took until, it took YouTube, which was some 5 or 8 years later, that was like the therapy that eventually like let me release all that anger, to where I'm not upset. It's still upsetting to think about, to think back and talk about it. But in general, I'm not really upset about these things anymore. But I was for a long time.
How surprised were you? Is it safe to say that you had this giant frustration, and at one point thought you were the only one having this frustration? Is that safe to say?
Well, I knew there was a lot of people, tons of people, just nobody else. It just seemed like nobody else responded to it the way I did. Like nobody else. I could see people on the street being abused, and when they were done, they would treat me like I'm a weirdo. They don't want to talk to me about what just happened. Mm-hmm. Like they're fine with what the police just did to them, but they want the weirdo on the bicycle to go away. The person that wants to ask them about what happened, or what was the reason for the stop? Why were they treating you that way? They didn't want to share that with me. So I think a lot of people just kind of they just take it in. They don't, they'd rather not talk about it, I guess.
How therapeutic was 2013 for you?
The year 2013?
Yep. The birth of, I think 2013. I mean, it seemed like in your career,
there was a tremendous. There was so much stuff going on that I didn't really have time to even absorb it. Like I was being arrested repeatedly by different agencies. Like I couldn't even possibly keep track of the court dates. Like I quit trying. I know I had court dates. I would just forget the court dates. I would just go record the police if they want to. They could arrest me when they want me to go to court. It's actually a lot to. So many things were going on that it's almost hard to even. I probably don't even recall all of it.
So do you think? I think you were one of the first activists arrested for filming the police. Is that a safe analysis?
No, I'm sure there's thousands of people that we don't even know about, probably, that but I'm not certain about who was first.
Right.
When it was when all that was going on, when it was like brand new to me, I didn't look at it that way because I know my editing skills were really. I might have been knowledgeable about what's going on with the police,
Right.
but my ability to make a video was really poor. The cameras were shit.
Right.
I didn't even I had like a computer that couldn't even really ingest the videos, like to try to edit it or whatever. I didn't even know
Right.
where to start with that. A lot of times the videos I would record, they weren't even usable. Like you couldn't even actually watch them because it might be nighttime and the camera doesn't it doesn't make an image at nighttime because it's a $30 camera from whatever year it was. But that didn't matter really if the video was unusable. I still went out there and pointed it at him anyways.
Do you recall? Do you recall the first arrest while filming?
Yes.
Walk us through that.
I think it was probably November 9th, 2012. I had been arrested previously for recording audio. I think this is the first time I was arrested for recording video. But I had just like a month before that. I used the scanner audio to disclose how the sheriff like killed this guy on a bicycle, and they lied and said he had a gun. But the audio from the dispatch made it very clear everything they said in the media was not true. And like I took it to the family, and the sheriff, I think after a few days, they switched their story and they came out with the truth. Like they admitted that the guy was not ever suspected of having a gun. I'm pretty sure that got the attention of all the local agencies. I mean, they probably I might have already had their attention, but that particular upload I know upset a lot of people. And I think it was a month after that. I was recording Hawthorne Police, and they just walked up to me and arrested me for no reason. I mean, it wasn't. They were polite. They weren't physically aggressive or verbally abusive, but they just arrested me and they wouldn't tell me why, and they wouldn't let me go. But by that time I had already sued them, so like I had an attorney that would represent me, and I didn't say bad words or anything like that. I was even polite when they arrested me, and when I was in custody, and
were you at any point numb to the arrests? Because it happened quite often filming.
No, I tried to pretend like it. I always tried to pretend like these things didn't bother me, especially like on the on the videos, whatever. I tried to act like like I'm enjoying myself, but no, it was always horrible to have your freedom taken for no reason, and and you don't, a lot of times you don't get your property, or if you get it back, it's not in the same condition, and then you have to go to court sometimes for years for a crime that you're not even suspected of committing, and they won't let you have your camera back, all the videos that happen to be in it at the time. Sometimes it's your telephone, they won't let you have it back, and it's like you're at their mercy. Even when your attorney sends them letters demanding they have to either give back the property or provide the a lawful reason for keeping it. But the police they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. At that point, they just figure, okay, well, we're going to get sued, so what? They don't have to follow the rules. But it was never. There was probably sometimes when I was arrested where I was released quickly. I remember the city of Gardena. Every time they arrested me, they were super nice to me. Like they would basically treat me like a celebrity. They'd book me in, and then they'd just kick me out and let me go. Some of the arrests weren't so bad, but like the court cases were awful. They would drop the charges, and then they would refile without notifying me, so I could get a warrant for my arrest. And as I would already have all my own reasons to have warrants for the things, the tickets that I didn't take care of, but on top of that, they would release me out of one jail, and before I got home, a different agency would arrest me. So like, how are you released from a jail, but you have a warrant for your arrest, and another agency picks you up? I mean, if they release you, that means the warrant should be cleared. But I'm pretty sure they thought that they could, just break me down and make me go away. I'm sure it would have been successful, but like maybe Carlos Miller, I don't know what year it was, but he published a story, and he said nice things about me. And I think that was the first time that I really heard people say nice things about the effort that I was making, to try to hold these guys accountable, to try to make them act right.
And did that change you?
Yeah, it changed everything. Like, suddenly it's a light. Yeah, like instead of me being a retard and an idiot for riding my bicycle and recording the police, suddenly there was like people all over the country that not only did they appreciate what I did, but they agreed, and they made supportive comments and pointed out the fact that I was right and the police were wrong. Mm-hmm. And also it also affected the police when people started calling this station and complaining to them about it. And I know the police that, for a long time, they didn't ever care about what I was doing because the videos weren't even published, and then when I started publishing them, most of the quality was garbage. So it still didn't matter.
Right.
But eventually they arrested me and the video was clear and everyone could see what they did. And then, Carlos ran the story, and, that changed everything. But I mean, I was represented. That was already a big step. Like I knew that I was going to win because I had an attorney, like one of the best attorneys helping me. But then on top of that, the public got behind me, and then from there, I probably got cocky and arrogant and started acting. At whatever point I quit acting professional. But also, they broke me down after so many arrests. You can only be polite for so long. Mm-hmm. Like if they keep arresting you, eventually you're not going to be saying nice things.
Did you feel, and do you feel that, I'm going to get deep here, I'm going to warn you now. Do you feel like the arrests, the countless arrests, was essentially it was drummed up to loss of time? And did that take a little, wear and tear on your mental health, losing that time of just, how it's going to end. You're going to get freed. It's just how long, how many hours. That's all it came down to. Did it take a wear on your mental health when you?
Absolutely.
And was it considered life's too short and I'm losing life here? I'm losing hours alive by going through this on a consistent basis.
It was years, it wasn't hours, it was years and years and years. And absolutely, but at whatever point I just decided that, I wasn't going to give up. It didn't matter anymore. They could take me to jail, but when they let me out, I'm going to record them. And you know what I mean? Like that became the only one priority that I had left in my life.
So this absolutely consumed you to the point where it was you. This was your life. You lived, breathed, everything. This.
Yes, yeah, I did, and probably not in a good way because I was very angry. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know what I was going to do if this didn't work out, but it was going to have to be something. I don't know what. I wasn't going to just forget about it.
So that moment, that turning point moment for you, where you're seeing all this adulation, was essentially the birth of Tom, right?
Yeah, I mean the the name was made up after they took down my channel, terminated it, and then my friend Catman created Tom Zebra because I think I was just feeling kind of beat, like I wasn't even thinking about making another channel, and yeah, so he made it and just like sent me the login stuff and said you're Tom Zebra now.
And you just took the cape and ran with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because if Google says you're not allowed to, you can't have any Google accounts. You can't make any new. You're not allowed to use YouTube under any new names, nothing. And
Right.
so I don't think I thought about it yet that I could break the rules and just make a different name.
Right.
Before I was trying to tell Catman, like I have all these new videos. Can I put them on your channel? And obviously the answer was no. But he had a better answer. He sent me a new identity but right away they gave me strikes on that. So immediately I got strikes. So then I had to put that on pause and I had to wait 6 months for these strikes to fall off before I could start using it.
What's
But yeah, I mean, Tom Zebra was the easy name to remember. I could tell people it, and when I would say Daniel Solomon, I'd be trying to spell my last name, knowing that they're not going to remember it. So Tom Zebra was much easier. I could tell people it, and yeah, it worked out.
I want to talk about the online presence. I want to talk about the birth of the online presence. What kind of got your eye about the internet, and utilizing the footage you had. Was it even? I'm not trying to age you, and I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But what kind of storage equipment did you have back then to transfer to the computer? SD
Uh,
card.
no, no, no. I was VHS tapes initially. I don't remember how. I don't know exactly how. I don't remember how I had a display card that had it's an ATI display card. I forget exactly, but it had a little breakout box where you could plug in the audio video cables, the red, white, and yellow from the VCR, and so then I could record it onto the computer, and then from there I could upload it. And eventually I went to Mini DV or Super VHS or whatever.
Right.
What is it? What is there's one between the Mini DB and the VHS. I forget what it was.
Oof.
But
Someone in
because
the chat.
the I forget what the card was called, but the initial cards were only like 4 megabytes, so they would hold a few pictures. You
Right.
couldn't put a video on it, or maybe it would record 5 seconds of video, but that was it.
So Ed wants to know, how is Poetic doing, if you know.
Shoot, I haven't talked to him. He was super helpful.
Right.
He was, he was one of the first people that met me and encouraged me,
Right.
and he showed me how to edit. Because I had never thought about chopping pieces from different things and like try to, make a point or a story. Or the first time he made a video for me, I was blown away.
High 8 was between the two formats, by the way.
Yeah, High 8 and Super 8, I think.
There you go. High 8.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would have at times I would have a camcorder taped and velcroed and bungeed onto the frame tube of my bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty ridiculous.
How creative were you with the cameras and the camera angles and the hidden cameras and all that stuff? Kind of walk us through the birth of that creation of being unique and getting those different camera shots, I guess we could say.
It's whatever point I found something called a bullet camera, and I think I ordered it from some other country. I had no idea if it was going to work, but it was. Oh wow! I got to plug in a charger. it was kind of comparable to a helmet camera of today, but it just didn't have any media. So I had to run the video from that, like to the trunk of my car. And so I had basically like time-lapse recorders is what they used to use for security, in banks and stuff like that. This is a long time ago, but so I had those kind of recorders in the trunk, and I like hid the wires. At first, I just would have a camcorder set up, but eventually, I went to the the video recorder in the trunk, and the camera's kind of hidden. But that was always tricky because you don't know where the police are which window do they come to. So like you have to guess where you're going to point it, and hope that when it happens that they happen to stand in front of it, which usually wouldn't work out that way. Yeah, I remember it seemed like I would lose every time I thought I finally made a good video. Something would go wrong. The recorder didn't work, or some component didn't work the way it was supposed to. Do you have a charge cable? Okay. Yeah, it was really difficult. I mean, besides the quality just being horrible and unwatchable, a lot of the times I would get home and look, and it's just like I didn't have it set up properly. So I was really terrible at making these kind of videos. It took a lot of years before I could actually, get home and have the video that I thought I had. Thank you.
So, how long have you always resided in California?
For the most part, I went to school in Arizona for a year, long time ago. But yeah, I've pretty much always lived in California.
Have you kind of like moved around, because you're very recognizable, and I know the officers know you, they all do. Have you had to find it in you to travel a lot more to get some calls and all that?
I pretty much focus on the same area that the same areas where like I pretty much had like problems as a young man, which was mostly Torrance. Eventually I lived in Hawthorne, and then eventually I lived in Lenox after the sheriff killed that one cyclist. And so like I've pretty much been in the same area. I might have gone to Las Vegas or something for a little while, but I just record these same cities, the same cops, almost always. Like daily, I recorded them all day long today. I mean, it's strange after all these years. In the last few months, it feels like a lot of them, you could just see how much they hate me. And I'll be nice to them. I'll be nice to them over and over and over. And like some of them can't even talk to me. Like they can't even look at me. When they see me, they just have to get in the car and leave. It's kind of strange because even if it wasn't them in particular, if I ever said things that weren't nice or was disrespectful, I never locked them in a cage and lied in court about them and tried to prosecute them and took their money and made them go to court for years at a time. So it's really kind of strange that they could do that to me and feel like they're the victims.
I've been told to ask about balls cam.
That was an audio recorder. That audio recorder, I would use a safety pin and like a rubber band, and so like if they were to search me, they could like pretty much.
Ow! Oh, did you say a safety pin?
No, that's why it's called the safety pin.
Around your balls?
No, the pin would go into my underwear. It just, so it won't accidentally fall out of my shorts or something.
Okay, so you want a free ball in this bitch, right?
No, I would do that sometimes too.
Oh,
but you have
Jesus Christ.
You have to be, like if you're squeezing it between your balls and your leg, then you kind of have to walk carefully so you don't drop it.
How do you focus? How do you focus on filming, having to have your nut in your thigh hold the camera, hold an audio?
I mean, that's just those kind of things. I would only be like in the police station trying to get a complaint form. Or I mean, actually, you know what? The truth is, I have this one recorder. I'm going to say the paint it was gray originally. The paint is mostly worn off of it. That thing lived in my underwear for probably I'm gonna say probably 8 years, and it still works.
Were your balls discolored because of it?
No, no, I mean, no. I don't know. I don't know that. I think it might have been on the outside of my underwear. I don't. It probably resided in, but yeah.
Jesus,
Um,
dude, he isn't safety pinning his nuts. I mean, listen,
uh, but
hey, hey.
I could tell you the front of my underwear, every pair of underwear I had, the safety pin had been poked into them so many times that eventually there was holes worn all over the pubic region of my underwear from that safety pin going in there thousands of times. Like, I mean,
I
and
don't
it
know how
was
close I don't know how close I put a safety pin by my balls. With all due respect,
it was never a problem.
you're a
And
professional.
well,
Someone's
look,
got
if
to
it
do the
wasn't for
job.
that, they arrested me for having an audio recorder. So like, I wasn't gonna get caught in the station again with the audio recorder, so I had to improvise. And then and trust me, when I went in there, the first time I went in there after the arrest, which was like 2 days later, I think, I had a new audio recorder, and they started pulling my shirt up, like yanking on all my clothes, trying to see if they could find another recorder. And once that, I think that came out in a police report because Officer Shea found the safety pin and the rubber band in my underwear when he was searching me one time. Once that came out, then every agency that arrested me, once I was in custody, there'd always be a watch commander that would come over and make me strip naked, like trying to make sure that I didn't have an audio recorder. And if you think about it, if I'm the bad guy and they're the good guys, then they shouldn't be worried that I recorded something, right? Because it should only show that I broke the law, not them. So, like, why would they be so concerned if I recorded something or not?
How creative were you with the audio recording equipment?
No, I'm gonna say I wasn't. I'm gonna say the quality was terrible. Like if I go back and listen to one of those old recordings, you almost can't even hear what is being said. So I thought I was like collecting this evidence and proof, but when it came down to it, when we sued, my attorney sued and we had lawsuits, nobody actually listened to any of that stuff. They basically took my word for it, and nobody bothered to even listen to those audio recordings. So, but if I didn't have the recordings, they would have just been able to make whatever story if they wanted, and I probably wouldn't have had a lawsuit, and they would have convicted me.
Do you feel that the police may have had a bigger disdain for you after being handed a audio recorder that was attached to your balls?
They didn't know. I don't think they didn't know that at that time. It was on that at that point. It was only in my pocket.
Eventually,
But
eventually,
after that day, then I realized it's not safe to just have it in my pocket.
right. But I don't know anybody in the chat. No offense to your balls or my balls or anyone's balls in this chat. I don't think anybody, even in the underwear, even the crotch area, if there's something down there, and I'm
Well,
presuming the weather there is what, the hundreds
like
probably.
I was
I mean,
riding my
we're
bicycle. I was riding my bicycle probably 50 miles a day. So of course, yeah, I was sweating. Like I
yeah,
said, the
yeah,
paint is stripped off of it.
yeah. So let that be a notice that was there a law enforcement officer fainting after touching your audio recorder at one point?
I could tell you that they took one of them into possession, and I didn't get it back for a couple of years.
Oh
And
no.
for whatever reason, every time they switched when the batteries would go dead, they kept all the old batteries and taped them all to it. So like I don't know why they continued to listen to it, but they went through probably 5 or 6 sets of batteries in the couple of years that. I mean, not that that matters. I don't
Right.
think they're putting the thing in their mouth. I'm sure they're just putting it on the table and playing
You went
it.
there, not me. You went there, not me. All right.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of want to talk about the birth of YouTube. What kind of driven you to what was the first time YouTube got your attention?
Um,
When was that? And walk us through the big wow moment of YouTube.
I started looking at at Cop Block, like Pierre. I think the guy with the beard. Well, they probably all got beards, but I forget. Besides Pierre, I forget the other guy's name. Um, but I wasn't. It wasn't exactly my style, but they had people watching their material. Like they had 75,000 subscribers or something, and I thought if people could see the videos that I had made, that maybe that would encourage the police to, because by this point I had won a lawsuit like in probably 2005 or something, and around 2012 I had quit recording the police. I quit carrying a camera. I think I probably still had that audio recorder with me just because I was still not confident. I knew eventually I would run into the police again. So the Torrance police, they pulled me over and were pointing their guns at me and shouting at me. And at the time, I was just enjoying it because I was just thinking I'm recording every single thing that they're doing. I couldn't wait for it to end so I could go home with my recording and show the world what happened. But it was in my shirt pocket. And when they pulled it out of my pocket, they erased it, and then they started the recording again and then locked it how it was when they found it. So when they gave it back to me, it looked like it had never been turned off because it still was recording just like when they took it out of my pocket. So I was excited the whole way home. Couldn't wait to hear it. When I got home and played it, it started right about the time they were taking the handcuffs off me, and right about the time they started saying nice things to me. All the they deleted all the the hostility and violence, and if that wasn't bad enough, they told me they were Gardena police, and in the heat of everything that was happening, all the shouting and the guns and stuff, I didn't realize that they were Torrance. So I went down to the Gardena police station shouting and cussing about how they had deleted my recording, and they're trying to say that that it wasn't them. It must have been a different agency. And I knew for sure it was Gardena. So I felt like they were trying to play me for a fool. So I'm in there shouting, insulting, and you're not going to get away with this. I think it was 2 or 3 days later, a lieutenant called me and he told me, he said, you need to call Torrance. It was Torrance police that did it. And so then I just felt like such a fool. Not only did they delete my recording, but they sent me, I went to the wrong station, just made a complete idiot of myself. And I was so angry and so upset and shouting. And I'm sure that they have a video from that incident in the lobby. I'm sure they enjoyed it. Like me just looking like an idiot. But so after that, I think by the next morning, I decided I'm going to start putting these things on YouTube because if nobody sees them but me, what is the point of making them? And plus I was just so angry, I felt like I had to get even with them somehow.
So I want to talk about your first big moment on YouTube, like the first video that kind of popped and got you on the map, so to speak. Do you remember what that video was?
Yeah, we already discussed it. It was November 9th, 2012. Gabriel Lira and Robert Shea arrested me in the city of Hawthorne.
Yep.
Huh? What's that?
Yep.
Yeah. And it was there wasn't even any conversation, nothing. It just was for no reason that you could see from watching the video. It just didn't make sense. I had been recording them for many, many years. For them to just walk up to me and arrest me for no reason seemed out of character. But like I said, it was after I had disclosed the sheriff's department murdered this guy. I'm pretty sure they were unhappy about that. Even though it's a different agency,
right?
I know every single agency took notice of that.
So, How involved were you with that case? With how involved were you with the family and everything?
I'm still they're like my family now.
Is that a story you are okay with sharing or no? It's up to you. I don't want to touch on any.
I'm okay with sharing it, but I don't. It'd probably be hard for me to talk about it without tearing up. I get emotional. By
Right. We,
so
I think everybody loves you because you're a real motherfucker, and that's something that people love, respect, and admire about you. I've shed some tears on this show myself, and people love that about me, which is why people were beyond excited to have us to, talk tonight because, we get deep with some questions. We kind of hit you in the feels a little bit as well.
yeah,
It's totally up to you. This is part one of many. If you want to
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
if
That's what I was going to suggest because I'm not even at my own house. I'm at a friend's house. I'm in the bathroom and stuff, trying so I'm not interrupting. What they're doing. I'd be
Mhm.
more than happy to to join you again. I'll try to be more prepared. Where
No,
so I
no,
think
you are.
maybe
You're
so I
perfect.
could do the video and I'm not locked in a bathroom. You probably hear an echo chamber.
No, you're
Uh,
good. I think everybody hears you great. Everybody loves you. How much longer do I have for you and stuff? Are you okay with time?
I mean, I probably should wrap it up, but
Oh, okay.
I'm being genuine when I say I'll be happy to come on anytime after,
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of walk us through walk us through your top five proudest like moments of
Well,
your
oh,
of
hold on a
your.
second. Hold on. My headphone. Hold on a second. My headphone just messed up. Hold on.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. What now? Could you repeat that?
Walk us through your top moments that you're proud of the most with the advocacy, etc. work that you've done.
I don't really know. I don't know any one in particular what it would be, but I know I have years and years of recordings on my hard drives and my computers, and like I could just go click any year and any month or any day, and there's tons of video recordings of all these police that I've known for all these years, and a lot of these recordings I don't remember them because there's so many and they're so long ago. But sometimes when I'll click through those and I'll just find things that like I'm shocked. It almost feels like I was smarter a long time ago. Like some of the things I say or said back then, I think I was just so focused on it back then, and probably at this point I'm getting old and I've gotten lazy, and like I said, I think I lost my professionalism along the way. Like shouting the F word is not something I'm really proud of. But when I go back to the earlier years, I hear some of that stuff, and I'm almost shocked, like that I even knew the things that I was saying. Like, where did that shit come from? So, but I don't have a specific thing. I think a long time ago, my answer might have been maybe something where like I cursed the cop out or something, but um, I'm not particularly proud of any of that stuff. And like anytime that I do that now, I end up regretting it. Like if I'm shouting and cursing and getting belligerent or hostile with the police or with anyone else, by the time I get home, I regret it. Like I'm not proud of that kind of behavior. So I wish I wouldn't have lost my professionalism over the years because yeah, I don't know that I could get it back. I don't know if that was the right answer to your question, but that's
It's a good answer. Like, who do you enjoy watching?
shoot. To be honest with you, I don't really watch videos because I spend so much time recording them, and I never have enough time to try to edit and like almost probably 90% of the shit I make, I never get a chance to do anything with it. So like I don't end up having time to watch. But I would have to say probably Catman. Um, Catman has always cracked me up because I don't know if you know or not, but at the beginning he would never talk. he would talk to me behind the scenes, but he wouldn't talk like he wouldn't put his voice on the camera. Um, I don't know. It's just I knew he was brilliant, but he didn't really share that with everybody else. And eventually he got past that, and I think he makes really. Also, Johnny 5 is entertaining. Um, I'm sure there's others, but I don't.
Yeah,
I
and there's
just
some girl called Laura. What's her last name? I'm
that goes.
losing it.
I'm not even gonna say her name. That goes without saying. You see me recording with her all the time, so I don't have to tell you that.
We've heard the
Uh,
story. So two more questions, if that's okay.
yeah, yeah.
We've heard the story from Laura about meeting you on her side. I want to get your side of the first time you met Laura Shark.
Okay. I was visiting with Ida Foxy Queen, and I think I just went down to the corner store I think I went to get some alcohol to make some drinks or something, and I was walking out, and she was walking in, and she had a big smile. I'm like, that doesn't happen to me every day, where like a girl just has a big smile, and so it caught my attention, and she said she had just finished watching some videos, I think with her boyfriend or something, or maybe she said her boyfriend watches my stuff, and I think I don't know if she said she wanted to record at that point, but I don't know how we exchanged contact information somehow, and then it took a long time before we finally went and recorded. But yeah, we just were cross paths going into Ralph's, and I think in San Pedro.
I want you to talk about how proud you are. I mean, she stated multiple times, if it wasn't for you, there'd be no Laura Shark. So
Well, yeah. Okay, we went to Hermosa Beach. We like kind of barely we might have recorded a little bit, but I don't think I really taught her much of anything. I was probably being irresponsible. I was probably drinking beer or something in front of the police or something like that. But also I took her to a couple calls and just kind of showed her like how, basically listen to the radio. And I probably tried to explain what the numbers or the codes that they're saying, what they mean. And just, tried to tell her how to go, just
right,
listen to what they say and then go there and get out of the car and record it basically. I don't know if I really expected, that she would actually do anything with it. And I don't know if I might have, I don't know if I just recorded with her once or maybe if it was 2 times or whatever it was. I think I didn't see her for a long time,
right.
but she started recording with Foxy, I think. Um, I don't know how many times I had met with her, but at some point I went to her channel and I was like, holy shit, she's got a lot of videos. And, I don't know if she had hundreds yet, but but it was clear like she was actually out recording the police, which plenty of people say they want to record the police, but most of them don't actually make a channel and act like they're serious about it and actually, stay dedicated to it. And I don't know how much time had passed, but at whatever point, I might not have actually watched them. I just kind of seen them or clicked around on them. At whatever point, I watched a few of them, and I was surprised that she has some good content. And and I think that just got better. I still don't probably watch too many videos, but our styles are maybe a little bit different, but she's dedicated. Like she'll come even if I'm not feeling up to it or whatever. She'll come. Besides going on her own, she'll come and get me, and whether I want to go or not, we're going to Figueroa, and we're going to be recording LAPD even on a night that I don't feel like doing it. So. And besides that, she's basically doing a different department that I've never really focused on LAPD. So next thing I know, when I go with her and look at her videos, she knows all their names. She knows who each and every one of these people is. That takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot of names to even faces to remember. That's not something that happens overnight or even after several months. It feels like that's something that takes years to remember all these names and all these people. Um, and I guess at this point she's a vet, right? She's like a veteran, even though it seems like it's weird when you think of the number of years that she's been recording. It's almost as many. It feels like it's almost as many as me, kind of. Even though it seems like it wasn't that long ago when she started. But yeah, she's doing great. I mean, she's got a lot of subscribers, and she's dedicated. So who knows where she's gonna? She could take this anywhere she wants. She's young too. You know what I mean? So, like, I wish I would have started doing this like decades sooner, but I had never thought of it. Yeah, because really, if someone, some people have talent, I think, or if you don't have talent, maybe if you have passion, people could take YouTube and they can make it into a successful career doing whatever it is that they're passionate about and that they enjoy. Anybody could take YouTube and be successful with it, if they're passionate. And some people probably have talent, so they could do it easier than others. But yeah.
What advice do you give to all the cop watchers? We got 60 people watching now. What advice do you have for the current crop of cop watchers that are listening to this? And what's your overall advice for anyone looking to get into this line of work? That's my final question, I promise.
Shoot, it's a difficult question. And like, depending on the day, I might have a completely different answer for you. But obviously, the first thing is you need to be careful. And I don't want to discourage anybody from doing it, but they're not. I think they're not very nice about it when it's a face they don't know at first. Get probably the best equipment that you could afford, and record from whatever distance you feel safe, and then you just take little steps. At first, it's going to be very awkward and uncomfortable, and it actually kind of takes a while to get over that. And depending if the police are hostile or violent towards you, that could make it even more difficult. But I wish I could say that those days are past where they're going to retaliate or attack someone for recording, but based on the current atmosphere, it seems like that's. I think it's probably still dangerous. So, but if it's something you want to do, just do it. It will. If it's something you want to do, it'll come naturally, and I think there's nothing that will stop it from happening. If it's what I mean. If it's in you, you're gonna do it no matter what. If that makes sense.
Thank you so much for your time. How can we follow you on YouTube? And are you on other social media platforms? Facebook, I know you're on as well. So can you throw some plugs out?
I don't really. The only thing I really use is the YouTube, like Facebook. I have a Facebook, but like I don't ever use it, and
right.
I get I'll find messages from a year ago. So really, YouTube is the only thing I use, and my email is tomzebra84@gmail.com.
Right.
Yeah. So don't have a whole lot of plugs there.
Awesome.
But I appreciate you having me on the show, and just let me know if you want to talk some other time.
Anytime. Next week will work. Let's schedule it. Text me. You got my cell. Thank you so much, Tom Zebra. Everybody give Tom a big round of applause. Thank you so much for hopping on El Sancho Live. And I look forward to having you on again. Thank you so much, my guy.
You're welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
All right, everybody. I want to give a big shout out to the chat. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in El Sancho Live.